appears appear in statement. Over years, he had made conjectures using inductive reasoning based on patterns he had observed. In making conjectures, the process of discovery will always focus on the knowledge of the world, and the lower foundation of calculation and suppression. Inductive reasoning, the process of showing that certain statements follow logically from agreed-upon assumptions and proven facts, and we use deductive reasoning to try to reason in an orderly way to convince yourself that someone else is behaving bad. If your initial statements are true and you give a logical argument, then you have shown that your conclusion is true. For example, in a trial, lawyers use deductive arguments to show how the evidence that they present proves their case. A lawyer might make a very good argument. First, the court must believe the evidence and accept it as true.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you've read through these two paragraphs. What I want you to do is I want you to write down in the boxes what a definition for inductive reasoning is, maybe some characteristics of inductive reasoning, some characteristics of deductive reasoning. I'll give you guys about 30 seconds to do that. Write down some characteristics of inductive and deductive. I'll give you 30 seconds. Okay, why don't you share with the person next to you some of your thoughts on inductive and deductive reasoning, just the differences as we go along. Excellent, sounds like people are saying some good things. Inductive reasoning is based on patterns, basically observations, and deductive reasoning is based on facts, it's logic. So these are observations, these could be patterns. If we were to write some sort of example of this, we might write 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, comma, like this. That is some sort of pattern that's going to go on there. We're basically adding the two previous terms together to get the next term. That's going to be a pattern. Deductive reasoning is based on logic or agreed upon steps. This is what we're actually looking at today, is using deductive reasoning. Okay. Below this, there's a really good example. It's based on algebra. We've studied this before, like how to do this. Each one of you should be able to do this. It says use deductive reasoning to prove that the value x equals 2 by solving the following equation for x. Give a reason for each step. So this first part, we basically distribute like so. So the reason that we move from this very top step down to this second step, what's the reason? How do we get there? Distributive. Okay, so we'd say like a distributive property. The agreed upon logical step. From there, it looks like we're, adding together things that are in common. So how do we get from this step down to the next line? Yeah, we combine like terms. Let's see, from there, kind of looks to me like we subtracted 12 off of each side. So we are using subtraction. Okay, these are agreed upon mathematical processes that we've talked about. From there, it looks to me like we are adding 5x to both sides. We're just looking at, hey, what's the difference between this line and this line? And it looks like we're adding 5x. So if we're adding 5x, what do we use? Addition. And these are actually properties of mathematics. Addition property of mathematics. At that point, we divide both sides by 15. So we would write division. The division property of mathematics. Does that kind of make sense? These are agreed upon steps. So deductive reasoning is basically using agreed upon steps. Okay. This next part, example 2. It says in each diagram, this is ray AC, that's how it's pronounced. Ray AC bisects the obtuse angle BAD. Classify angle BAD, angle DAC, and C angle ACBAB, whatever it is, as acute, right, or obtuse, then complete the conjecture. Okay? So angle BAD equals 120 degrees. If this bisects it, what are each of these angles? Yeah, they're both 60 degrees. So that makes both of those angles acute, right? Okay. This one, it says it's 158 degrees. So what does that make each one of these two angles out here? Yep, that'd be 79 degrees and 79 degrees. Good job. Both of those would then be acute. Okay. These are 92 degrees total. So what would they both be? 46 degrees and 46 degrees. Sounds good to me. Which would make both those acute, right? Okay. So let's check this out. We started off with an obtuse angle, and an obtuse angle. And when it's bisected, they always become acute angles. So using logic, here's what we're at. Use deductive reasoning to complete the conjecture. If an obtuse angle is bisected, that's what's happening up here, then the two newly formed congruent angles they're acute. Okay? And it's just using logic, we've sort of noticed this as we go along. We've just had several examples of it. We're noticing this as we go along. Is that okay? Okay, let's try this next thing. Write the conclusion that can be reasoned. That can be reasoned. Reasoned means deductive reasoning. That can be reasoned from each hypothesis. Okay? If it is cloudy today. Okay, so you have to assume that the first part is true. If it's cloudy today, then I will not go to the park. Okay, does that make sense? If it's cloudy today, then I won't go to the park. It is cloudy outside. What conclusion? You know, what's the conclusion? I will not go to the park. Okay. So you assume this first statement is completely true. And then you notice based on this characteristic, like whatever part's going on, whether that's true or false, kind of what's going to go on. All even numbers can be divided by 2. Okay, that's definitely true. We have to assume that this part's true over here. The number is 5. Can you draw any conclusions from that? No. Okay. Because it doesn't say all numbers, it says all, it just says all even numbers. So the idea on this is that we would write no conclusion. We'll just write this, no conclusion. What's that? All four-sided, that should be hyphenated, all four-sided polygons are quadrilaterals. That's a true statement. All four-sided polygons are quadrilaterals. A polygon is a square. Okay? And this is the weird thing, because we know more about this. We know that a square is a four-sided polygon. We know that a square is a quadrilateral. But what we'd have to say is polygon has 4 sides would be what we'd have to say in order to conclude something. So again, in this one, no conclusion can really be driven because we don't know the first part is true or false. No conclusion. Okay. What comes after this is your assignment. Basically, this is it, guys. It's 1 through 11 is your assignment, this back page. All I want you guys to do is go through this. It says, given that all squares are rectangles, it can be reasoned that the figure ABCD is a square and it is a rectangle. It says A, tell whether the statement uses inductive or deductive reasoning. You better go back to your notes to figure that out. And part B, tell whether the argument is true or false. If it's false, make sure to give a counterexample. On the back side, you are writing a conclusion from the hypothesis listed. So you are using reasoning. There's not a whole lot of work that needs to be shown. There's definitely nothing algebraic that we're doing, but we are using reasoning, which is a high-level mathematical skill. Yes, sir. You just turn in the back page. Thank you very much. You guys have the rest of the hour. You guys are working.